If you're noticing thinning hair, excessive shedding, or slow regrowth, the real problem may not be your shampoo or genetics. In many cases, it's a nutrient deficiency and hormonal imbalance happening quietly inside your body. And today, I want to share one powerful seed that, when taken before bed, can help support hair regrowth naturally by fixing the root cause. Pumpkin seeds stand out as one of the most concentrated natural sources of nutrients that directly support hair follicle function. When hair begins to thin or shed excessively, it is often because the follicle itself has become weak, inflamed, or nutritionally deprived. Hair follicles are among the most metabolically active structures in the body, which means they require a steady and rich supply of specific minerals and cofactors to stay active. One of the most critical of these is zinc, and pumpkin seeds are exceptionally rich in bioavailable zinc that the body can actually use. Zinc plays a central role in the production of keratin, the structural protein that makes up your hair strands. Without adequate zinc, keratin synthesis slows down and hair becomes thin, brittle, and prone to falling out. What's interesting is that zinc is also required to activate hundreds of enzymes involved in tissue repair. Hair follicles constantly cycle through growth and rest phases, and zinc helps push follicles out of the dormant phase back into active growth. If you've ever wondered why hair seems to stop growing altogether, this mineral deficiency is often the hidden reason. Another critical function of zinc is its ability to regulate oil-producing glands around the hair follicle. These glands, known as sebaceous glands, must stay balanced to protect the scalp environment. When zinc levels are low, these glands can malfunction, leading to scalp inflammation, dandruff, and follicle irritation. An inflamed scalp is not a healthy environment for hair growth. Pumpkin seeds help restore this balance, creating conditions where follicles can survive and thrive rather than shut down prematurely. Pumpkin seeds also provide a unique combination of plant-based protein and amino acids that directly nourish the follicle structure. Hair is not just about minerals, it also requires sulfur containing amino acids to maintain strength and elasticity. These amino acids act as building blocks that reinforce the hair shaft from the inside out. This is why individuals who regularly consume pumpkin seeds often notice hair that feels thicker and more resilient over time, not just longer. There's also a powerful antioxidant component in pumpkin seeds that often goes unnoticed. Oxidative stress damages hair follicles by disrupting their ability to divide and regenerate. Over time, this oxidative damage causes follicles to miniaturize, producing thinner and weaker hairs. Pumpkin seeds contain antioxidants that help neutralize this stress, protecting follicles from premature aging. This is especially important if you're exposed to chronic stress, poor sleep, or high sugar intake, all of which accelerate oxidative damage. What makes pumpkin seeds particularly effective is how efficiently the body absorbs their nutrients. Unlike some supplements that pass through the digestive system without full absorption, whole pumpkin seeds provide minerals in a natural food matrix that improves bioavailability. This means more zinc, magnesium, and supportive compounds actually reach the bloodstream and ultimately the scalp. The question many people ask is why topical products fail while dietary changes work, and the answer lies in this internal nourishment. Hair follicles are fed from the inside, not the outside. There is also an important connection between pumpkin seeds and cellular communication within the follicle. Zinc supports DNA synthesis and cell division, both of which are essential for hair strand formation. When follicle cells cannot divide efficiently, hair growth slows or stops. Restoring zinc through pumpkin seeds helps reactivate these cellular processes, allowing follicles to function as they were designed to. If hair loss has been persistent despite trying multiple products, it's worth asking whether the follicle is truly being fed at the cellular level. Pumpkin seeds address this foundational issue by delivering targeted nutrition directly tied to hair structure, repair, and regeneration. Over time, consistent intake supports stronger follicles, improved scalp health, and a gradual shift from hair loss toward hair retention and regrowth. One of the most overlooked reasons hair stops growing is not a lack of products or treatments, but a silent hormonal shift happening beneath the surface. In many people, especially after the age of 30, hair follicles become increasingly sensitive to a hormone called DHT, or dihydrotestosterone. This hormone is not inherently bad. It plays important roles in the body, but when DHT levels become excessive or follicles become overly sensitive to it, hair growth begins to slow, thin, and eventually shut down. What surprises most people is that this process often happens gradually, long before visible hair loss becomes obvious. DHT works by binding to receptors in the hair follicle and shrinking it over time. As the follicle becomes smaller, each new hair strand grows thinner, weaker, and shorter than the last. Eventually, the follicle enters a dormant state and stops producing hair altogether. This is why hair loss often starts subtly, with increased shedding or reduced density, rather than sudden bald patches. The critical question is not just how to lower DHT, but how to do it in a way that does not disrupt the body's natural hormonal balance. Pumpkin seeds contain unique plant compounds called phytosterols, which play a key role in modulating DHT activity. These compounds do not shut down hormone production. Instead, they help reduce the conversion of testosterone into excessive DHT by supporting a healthier balance in the enzyme responsible for this conversion. This distinction is important because aggressive hormone suppression can lead to fatigue, mood changes, and metabolic issues. Pumpkin seeds work gently and intelligently, allowing the body to regulate itself rather than forcing it into imbalance. Another factor that makes this particularly effective is how DHT interacts with inflammation. Inflamed tissue becomes more sensitive to hormonal signals, including DHT. Pumpkin seeds provide anti-inflammatory fats and micronutrients that calm the scalp environment. When inflammation decreases, follicles become less reactive to DHT in the first place. This means the same hormone level causes less damage simply because the tissue is healthier. Many people focus only on hormone levels and completely miss this inflammatory component. There is also a strong link between insulin resistance and elevated DHT activity. High insulin levels stimulate hormonal pathways that increase DHT production, especially around the scalp. Pumpkin seeds help stabilize blood sugar due to their fiber, healthy fats, and magnesium content. When insulin levels normalize, the hormonal cascade that feeds excess DHT begins to slow down. This explains why dietary changes often outperform topical solutions when it comes to long-term hair preservation. What's especially compelling is that pumpkin seed compounds target the hair follicle without affecting systemic testosterone levels in a harmful way. This is why they have been studied for both men and women experiencing pattern hair loss. In women, even small shifts in DHT sensitivity can trigger thinning, particularly after stress, childbirth, or menopause. Pumpkin seeds provide a food-based approach that supports hormonal resilience during these transitions rather than adding more stress to an already sensitive system. Another overlooked mechanism involves circulation at the follicle level. DHT, restricted follicles often receive less blood flow, compounding the problem. Pumpkin seeds support vascular health, which helps deliver oxygen and nutrients to follicles that are under hormonal stress. Better circulation means follicles are more capable of resisting miniaturization and maintaining their growth cycle. When people rely solely on external treatments, they often miss this internal hormonal conversation entirely. Hair follicles respond to signals from within the body, not just what is applied on the scalp. Pumpkin seeds influence these signals quietly but consistently. Over time, this reduces follicle shrinkage, slows excessive shedding, and supports a more stable growth phase. The result is not an overnight transformation, but a gradual shift where hair loss slows first, density stabilizes second, and regrowth becomes possible as follicles are no longer being hormonally suppressed. Hair follicles are living structures that depend heavily on a constant supply of oxygen and nutrients delivered through the bloodstream. When circulation to the scalp is compromised, hair growth is one of the first processes to slow down because the body prioritizes vital organs over hair production. This is why many people notice thinning hair during periods of chronic stress, poor sleep, or metabolic imbalance. The issue is not always the follicle itself, but the reduced delivery system feeding it. Pumpkin seeds support circulation in a very specific and biologically meaningful way. They are rich in magnesium, a mineral essential for relaxing blood vessels and improving vascular flexibility. When blood vessels are tight or constricted, less blood reaches the scalp. Magnesium helps counteract this by promoting smooth muscle relaxation in the vascular walls, allowing blood to flow more freely. Improved circulation means hair follicles receive more oxygen, amino acids, and trace minerals necessary for sustained growth. Another key factor is nitric oxide production, a molecule that signals blood vessels to widen. Certain nutrients found in pumpkin seeds help support nitric oxide pathways indirectly by reducing oxidative stress and improving endothelial function. Healthier blood vessels respond better to these signals, enhancing nutrient delivery to the scalp. This becomes particularly important with age, as nitric oxide production naturally declines and circulation efficiency drops. Healthy fats in pumpkin seeds also play a critical role in circulation and scalp health. These fats help maintain flexible cell membranes, including those lining blood vessels. When cell membranes become rigid due to poor diet or inflammation, blood flow efficiency decreases. The fatty acid profile in pumpkin seeds supports smoother circulation and reduces friction within the vascular system, allowing blood to reach even the smallest capillaries feeding the hair follicles. Stress hormones also interfere with scalp blood flow. Elevated cortisol causes blood vessels to constrict and redirect circulation away from non-essential tissues, including the scalp. Pumpkin seeds provide nutrients that help stabilize the nervous system and support adrenal balance. Magnesium and zinc both play a role in calming stress responses, which indirectly restores blood flow to the scalp. When stress chemistry improves, circulation naturally follows. There is also an important connection between circulation and nutrient signaling at the follicle level. Hair follicles rely on chemical messengers to stay in the growth phase. These signals are delivered through the bloodstream. When circulation improves, not only do follicles receive more nutrients, but they also receive clearer biological signals to remain active. Poor circulation disrupts this communication, leading to premature shedding and prolonged resting phases. Blood sugar balance further influences scalp circulation. Elevated glucose levels damage blood vessels over time, making them less responsive and more rigid. Pumpkin seeds help stabilize blood sugar through their fiber and mineral content, protecting vascular integrity. This preservation of healthy blood vessels ensures that scalp circulation remains efficient even in individuals with metabolic challenges. What often goes unnoticed is that topical scalp stimulation alone can not overcome poor internal circulation. Massages and products may temporarily increase blood flow on the surface, but they do not correct the underlying vascular support system. Nutrients from pumpkin seeds work from the inside, improving circulation at a systemic level. This internal improvement creates a foundation that allows external methods, if used, to become more effective rather than acting as short-term fixes. As circulation improves consistently, hair follicles shift from survival mode back into growth mode. Shedding may slow first, followed by improved hair thickness and resilience. Over time, better blood flow helps follicles maintain longer growth cycles and produce stronger strands. This internal vascular support is one of the most critical, yet most underestimated, elements of natural hair regrowth. Timing plays a far more significant role in nutritional effectiveness than most people realize, especially when it comes to hair repair and regeneration. The body does not function the same way at night as it does during the day. After sunset, the nervous system gradually shifts from a stress-driven, action-oriented state into a repair-focused mode. This transition changes how nutrients are absorbed, where they are directed, and how efficiently they are used. When the right nutrients are introduced at the right time, the body is far more likely to allocate them toward restoration rather than immediate energy demands. During sleep, the body enters a biological window where cellular repair becomes the top priority. Growth hormone levels rise, tissue regeneration accelerates, and inflammatory activity drops. Hair follicles, which spend much of the day competing with muscles, the brain, and other organs for nutrients, finally receive focused attention. Providing supportive nutrients before this repair phase allows the body to use them precisely when follicles are most responsive. This is one reason some people notice better results from simple dietary changes made at night rather than during the day. Minerals such as zinc and magnesium are particularly sensitive to timing. Magnesium supports nervous system relaxation and deeper sleep cycles, which indirectly enhances growth hormone release. Deeper sleep is not just about feeling rested, it directly affects how well the body repairs tissues, including hair follicles. When magnesium intake supports sleep quality, hair follicles benefit from a longer and more efficient repair window. Zinc, on the other hand, is heavily involved in cellular division and enzyme activation, processes that peak during nighttime regeneration. Insulin dynamics also shift at night. When high carbohydrate or sugary foods are consumed late, insulin spikes interfere with growth hormone release and push the body into storage mode rather than repair mode. Pumpkin seeds, however, have a minimal impact on insulin levels due to their healthy fats, fiber, and protein content. This allows the body to remain in a low insulin state, which favors tissue repair, hormone balance, and follicle recovery. The result is a metabolic environment that supports growth rather than breakdown. Another overlooked factor is inflammation. Throughout the day, the body accumulates inflammatory stress from environmental exposure, mental pressure, and dietary triggers. At night, inflammatory signaling naturally declines if the body has the right resources. Compounds in pumpkin seeds help reduce oxidative stress and inflammation, allowing follicles to recover from daily damage. Introducing these nutrients before sleep supports the body's natural anti-inflammatory rhythm rather than working against it. There is also a neurological component that directly affects hair growth. Chronic sympathetic nervous system activation restricts blood flow to the scalp. At night, parasympathetic dominance restores circulation to peripheral tissues. Nutrients consumed before bed enter a system that is already opening blood vessels and redirecting flow toward repair zones. This makes nutrient delivery to the scalp more efficient than during daytime stress states when circulation is often diverted elsewhere. Melatonin, a hormone associated with sleep, also plays a role in hair follicle cycling. Research has shown that melatonin supports the anagen, or growth, phase of hair follicles. Proper sleep timing enhances melatonin release, and certain nutrients indirectly support this process by calming the nervous system. When sleep quality improves, melatonin signaling becomes more consistent, creating a hormonal environment that favors hair retention and regrowth. Another important aspect is digestive efficiency. Late evening digestion, when not overloaded, allows for slower and more complete absorption of minerals and fats. Pumpkin seeds are dense but not heavy, making them suitable for nighttime consumption without burdening digestion. Slower digestion means a steady release of nutrients into the bloodstream throughout the night, providing follicles with continuous support during their most active repair phase. Stress chemistry cannot be ignored in this discussion. Elevated cortisol at night disrupts sleep and suppresses regenerative hormones. Nutrients that stabilize blood sugar and support adrenal function help lower nighttime cortisol levels. As cortisol drops, the body shifts more deeply into repair mode. Hair follicles, which are highly sensitive to stress hormones, respond positively to this shift. Reduced cortisol signaling allows follicles to remain in the growth phase instead of prematurely entering rest. What many people find surprising is that consistency matters more than quantity. Small, regular nutritional signals given at the same time each night train the body to expect and use those resources efficiently. Over time, this rhythmic support strengthens the repair cycle itself. Hair follicles thrive on predictability. When nutrients arrive consistently during the body's natural regeneration window, follicles are more likely to recover, stabilize, and resume healthy growth patterns. The night is not simply a passive period of rest. It is an active biological reset. Aligning nutrition with this reset amplifies its impact by supporting sleep quality, hormone balance, circulation, and inflammation control all at once. Nighttime nutrient intake creates conditions where hair follicles can finally shift out of survival mode and back into growth. Hair regrowth becomes possible only when the body shifts from constant damage control into a state of repair, and this shift does not happen by chance. Hair loss is rarely caused by a single factor. It is usually the outcome of multiple small imbalances accumulating over time. Nutrient depletion, chronic inflammation, hormonal stress, blood sugar instability, and poor recovery all send signals to the body that survival is more important than growth. When these signals dominate, hair follicles quietly shut down. Addressing the surface without correcting these internal signals leads to frustration, not results. One of the most critical mistakes people make is focusing exclusively on the hair itself instead of the environment that supports it. Hair follicles behave like sensors. They respond to metabolic health, hormonal balance, and nutrient availability. When the body is inflamed or deficient, follicles interpret this as an unsafe environment and reduce activity. This is why expensive treatments often fail, while simple nutritional changes succeed. The follicle does not respond to promises, it responds to biological signals. Inflammation plays a central role in shutting down hair growth. Even low-grade, chronic inflammation alters blood flow, disrupts hormone signaling, and damages follicle cells over time. It does not always present as pain or obvious symptoms. It often shows up first as thinning hair, slower growth, or excessive shedding. When anti-inflammatory nutrients are introduced consistently, the body begins lowering these stress signals. As inflammation drops, follicles regain the ability to stay active longer instead of entering early rest phases. Mineral deficiencies are another silent trigger. Zinc, magnesium, iron, and trace minerals are essential for cellular division and repair. Hair follicles require constant renewal, and when minerals are scarce, the body redirects them to more vital organs. Hair becomes expendable. Restoring these minerals through whole foods sends a message of abundance. When the body senses nutritional sufficiency, it allows growth processes to resume. This shift alone can change the trajectory of hair loss. Hormonal balance cannot be separated from this discussion. Excess stress hormones, unstable insulin levels, and heightened sensitivity to androgens all signal danger to the body. These hormonal patterns encourage conservation, not growth. Supporting blood sugar stability and adrenal resilience helps normalize these signals. When insulin spikes decline and cortisol rhythms improve, the hormonal environment becomes permissive to regeneration. Hair follicles respond quickly to this internal calm. Blood flow ties all of these factors together. Inflammation, mineral imbalance, and stress hormones all impair circulation. Reduced blood flow deprives follicles of oxygen and nutrients while trapping metabolic waste. Improving circulation internally restores nutrient delivery and waste removal at the follicle level. When circulation improves, follicles not only receive more resources, but also better chemical messaging to remain in the growth phase. Another overlooked factor is recovery capacity. The body repairs itself in cycles, not continuously. Sleep quality, circadian rhythm, and nervous system balance determine how effective these cycles are. When recovery is impaired, hair follicles remain stuck in a protective shutdown mode. Supporting deep recovery allows follicles to synchronize with the body's repair schedule. This alignment is essential for long-term regrowth rather than temporary improvements. Consistency is the signal that tells the body it is safe to invest in growth again. Sporadic changes create confusion. Predictable nutrition, stable sleep, and reduced metabolic stress build trust within the system. Hair follicles thrive in predictable environments. When the body receives the same supportive signals daily, it begins reallocating resources back toward regenerative functions. What often surprises people is that hair regrowth usually begins with reduced shedding rather than immediate new growth. This is a sign that follicles are stabilizing. The next phase is improved hair thickness and texture, followed by gradual density restoration. These changes reflect internal healing, not cosmetic enhancement. When the internal environment improves, hair growth follows naturally. Fixing the root cause is not about adding more interventions. It is about removing the obstacles preventing growth. When inflammation is lowered, deficiencies are corrected, hormones are stabilized, circulation is restored, and recovery improves, hair follicles no longer receive shutdown signals. Instead, they receive permission to function as designed. That permission is the foundation of natural, sustainable hair regrowth. Hair follicles respond to the internal environment more than any external treatment. When they receive consistent signals of abundance, stability, and reduced stress, they begin to function at full capacity again. Every nutrient, every mineral, every moment of improved circulation and hormonal balance contributes to this internal message. Follicles are highly sensitive. They detect even subtle shifts in inflammation, stress hormones, or nutrient availability and adjust their activity accordingly. Ignoring these signals often leads to continued thinning even when external products are used. Consistency and timing amplify the effect. Introducing the right nutrients regularly, supporting sleep quality, and maintaining stable blood sugar levels allow follicles to operate in a predictable, favorable environment. This predictability tells the body that it is safe to allocate resources to hair growth rather than conserving energy for survival functions. Over time, this creates a foundation where follicles remain active longer, grow stronger hair strands, and resist the miniaturization process that leads to thinning.